200 miles from Kruger, at a game lodge in Brits, Kruger vet Douw Grobler and colleagues are inspecting young elephants looking for a new home. They originally came from the Tuli Game Reserve in neighboring Botswana. But something is wrong. This lump is a wound inflicted by a human being. And that's only on the surface. For these adolescent elephants, most of their wounds run much deeper. Elephants are loved for their size, strength, and gentleness, but they need vast space and huge quantities of food to survive. With no natural predators, elephant herds grow quickly, overpopulating game parks and destroying habitat. The result can be anything from starving elephants inside park boundaries to elephants raiding local farms and ruining crops. Management of the sub-Saharan elephant population is in crisis. Numbers are rising, and there are few acceptable measures for reducing growth. As a control measure, Botswana, South Africa's neighbor, sold a South African wildlife dealer 30 elephants aged between 4 and 9. They were taken from their mothers in the Tuli Game Reserve and shipped to South Africa. Their new owner began preparing them for sale to zoos and game reserves around the world. His idea of training: chains, whips, and beatings.
I believe that it's totally bizarre and totally unnecessary for any elephant to undergo that type of training.
The elephants lived through a daily nightmare of brutality and fear. Hidden cameras recorded the abuse. The treatment of the Tuli elephants became a scandal of national proportions. The animal dealer was charged with cruelty to animals. 21 of the young elephants had already been placed in zoos and safari parks. The fate of the remaining 9 was in jeopardy.
If small elephants are taken away on their own, especially under an age of, say, about 6-7 years, they do develop a lot of problems. And experience have shown in the past that these elephants later in their life have a lot of abnormal behavior.
Are these young elephants ever going to recover from their abuse? Or are they just too damaged to adapt to life in the wild? Some people in the conservation community suggest euthanasia as the only humane solution. The future of these battered babies looks bleak. Back at the game lodge in Brits, the Tuli elephants get a break. They will be set free. And Kruger's animal capture team, the best in the country, have been asked to move them. Their new home will be a game reserve called Marakele, 150 miles northwest of Brits. Douw decides to move them at night to avoid any media attention. The abused young elephants are shy of the cages. They resist and complain as they're urged into the truck. Is this another trick? Eventually, they're in.
The elephants are loaded now, all went reasonably well. They're on their way to Marakele National Park.
The drive to Marakele begins around midnight. About halfway, the Kruger team stops for a rest and to pick up a treat for the young elephants riding in the back.
One advantage of moving them at night is they're normally quite quiet. Petrus gave them some oranges just to keep them busy. You know, oranges is just a nice, like, sweets for children. So far we're happy, all according to plan.
They arrive at Marakele just before dawn. The elephants will be released into a large holding area called a boma, where they'll stay for up to 2 weeks. At first, the elephants are hesitant, reluctant to leave the safety of the truck. Once out, They bolt into the bush in tight little bunches, fearful of the unknown and taking comfort in each other. The Tuli elephants are only halfway to freedom, because their hardest test is yet to come. Elephants, like humans, live in families, and, like humans, abused children can become dysfunctional adults. Will these traumatized youngsters ever be able to integrate with Marakele's existing elephant herds? Or has the abuse damaged them forever? Dawn finds the Tuli elephants circling their new enclosure. It's a halfway house, part bush, part observation pen. The elephants settle down, and so does Douw Grobler.
I'm happy with what I'm seeing here. Fence is good. You did a wonderful job, I must be honest. One thing we got to do is, with the additional feeding of these ellis, I think put the branches at the water. You know, take it in, put it at the water. I'm sure maybe that you guys can probably walk in there, but I want to minimize any human contact, okay? This is not what we would regard a normal translocation. I mean, we all know it's going to be, there's a lot of risks involved in this. Our main objective with these guys would be that we make them elephants again. You know, they just become elephants.
They look like elephants, they walk like elephants. But to truly be wild elephants again, they have to first be able to feed themselves. They get some help from the rangers, but happily take to wild food almost immediately. 2 weeks later, the rangers decide it's time for the elephants to return to the wild. They've passed every test but one. To really become wild elephants, they have to live with others of their kind. As they take their first cautious steps into their new home, these young elephants are literally embarking on an adventure of a lifetime. If they can integrate with the free herds in the open park, they will look forward to a long and happy life. If they don't, their options are grim. Months later, the report from park rangers in Marakele is this. The Tuli elephants have passed the final test. They're home at last, in the company of wild elephants.